Denmark in the year 1969. Sorry. So Dr. Ram was Baba's physician when Baba was ill in Kolkata. Baba blessed him with several profound spiritual experiences, including personal contact multiple times. Dr. Ram is also one of the very few Margis who were selected by Baba for doing microbiota sadhana. Dr. Ram was at Stanford University as a cardiologist and researcher. He has published several journal papers which have really advanced the medical field in the area of treating heart disease. Dr. Ram has done a lot of Amrit work, including providing relief as a doctor in disaster-affected areas in Haiti, Africa, and Central American countries like Guatemala and Nicaragua. So today we have a panel of two people who are going to interview him. So my name is Mayank Lal. I live in Houston. That's where Dr. Ram is too. I have been a Margi. I've been a born Margi. My father was initiated back in 1961, and I got initiated around 1988. And we also have with us Rajendra Dada. Rajendra Dada, if you could please introduce yourself.
Yeah, Namaskar, Mayank ji. Thank you so much. Namaskar to everyone. I'm Rajendra, and I have been since my childhood in Anand Marga. Rather, in 67, 68, I was in Anmar Children Home, Patna. I grew there. And I'm a chemical engineer by profession. I was working with steel here in Jamshedpur. I am staying in Jamshedpur. And I got retired in 2020 March. So after that, I'm more associated with Proud. So that is all my introduction is, and I'm looking for Dada Ram Shettigar because Shettigar, we knew some stories. We wanted to interview him because he's very famous in our place. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
So I would request Rajendra Dada to start with the first question for Dr. Ram.
Okay. So let us start.
You may just call me Ram instead of doctor.
Yeah. Yes, Dada. Okay.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, I think Dr. Ram was saying that you can address him as Ram instead of Dr. Ram. So let's call him Ram Dada.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ram. So the very first question coming to our mind is we were in, I don't know, 89, 90, we'll tell the fact. We had heard about a remarkable incident involving Baba Sri Shanandamurthy ji during a time when he fell seriously ill in Kolkata. It is said that you were traveling from Kolkata to Mangalore when Central Dada began to inquire about your whereabouts. Initially, there was some confusion and they assumed you had flown to Bangalore, not Mangalore. So Margis in Bangalore were alerted to contact you as soon as you land there. So requesting you to return to Kolkata immediately. However, it was later discovered that you had actually landed in Mangalore. And you were then contacted and informed of Baba's condition and the urgency you return. Can you share with us what happened next and how the situation unfolded from your perspective? Thank you, Dada.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Brother Mayank, for the beautiful music and also nice introduction. Let me, start from the little bit beginning. The entire family, that is my wife Pratima and 3 children, we all made the plans to go to India to see our parents. And then, so we flew probably 20 hours and a few more hours stranded in Frankfurt and other places. We reached Kolkata around afternoon. We booked a hotel there. Very difficult time for few hotels available. But then we went to Tiljala straight away, all of us. And we were fortunate that day. Baba was giving darshan to Margis every Saturday or so, weekend, I think. And he was talking about Shabda Chayanika on the letter K, Ka. Yes. And so we were lucky. So we went upstairs in Tiljala Baba's place. Upstairs was a big hall, but we had probably more than 200 people there, Dadas and Didis and Margis. And Baba appeared very healthy. He was chatting nicely with everybody and was humorous at times. But he was speaking in Bengali. I could not catch everything. But it was, when Baba started, it was night already. And we were cramped in that hall. And I had one, daughter on my lap and one on my shoulder. And Pratima had another baby on her lap. And we were compressed on all sides. But I don't know how it was there. Baba was talking for about 2.5 hours. And I don't know how the time passed. I recognized many the others I had seen before. And at the end, we had to leave. It was late. And we had planned to catch a flight to South India the next morning. So we reached the hotel, and next day we took flight. I think it was Hyderabad. We had one stop, and then we changed plane in Bangalore to fly directly to Mangalore. And that was a short flight, 1 hour flight. And from Mangalore, we took a taxi to Udupi. That's my hometown. And when I reached home, I had not seen our parents in nearly 4 years. 4 to 5 years. And they were happy to see me. At the same time, they said, you have urgent calls from Kolkata, and Bangalore. Several RS from Bangalore were also calling. And I should call back right away. So I went to the telephone and called Bangalore and talked to the others there. And they said Baba was admitted to nursing home, that is hospital in India. Nursing home means. And he was seriously ill. And Dr. Ramesh Prasad, I think his last name, and he's vice dean in Ranchi Medical School at that time. And he was the liaison person. He was communicating with Dr. Vardhan. He was the cardiologist in that nursing home. He was famous because he put a pacemaker in the heart on Mother Teresa some time ago. Anyway, so then what happened was my parents were okay for my leaving right away. They understood the situation. And then I found out airlines were on strike. I cannot go from Mangalore to Bangalore or Calcutta. So only thing is the night bus ride. So I took luckily I got the seat in the bus. It's almost like 12 hours. It reaches Bangalore in the morning. So I took my family, the wife and children. I put them in a taxi to their village, which is an hour ride. And I thought it's best if they stayed in that village. And so bus reached Bangalore in the morning, early morning. And then I went straight to the airport because the strike was still going on. And when I went to the window, the person said, "There is only one ticket left. You want to take it?" I said, "Yes, certainly." And so I was lucky. I took one-way ticket to Kolkata because I didn't know how long I'll be staying also if there was a return ticket. And it was late in December and close to, in other words, it's festive time. Christmas was there close by. So I reached Calcutta and took a taxi to the not Lake Garden, Tiljala. I went to Tiljala and I saw there Santosh Nanji at the court front. He knew me and I looked tired and probably sad. So he said, "Ram, don't worry, this is all Baba's drama." He's, his Leela, and he will be okay. He will recover soon. And well, it's in a hindsight, we know what happened since. And so I was there. When I reached Kolkata, Tiljala, I was feeling dirty, sweaty, and I have not changed my dress. I have not taken a bath since leaving US. And so I left my suitcase at the door of the toilet and went inside and took a cold bath, pouring some water over my head. And then I heard big yelling outside the toilet. And I thought Baba was, his voice, like Baba's voice. And he was scolding somebody, I don't know. And then I found out when I got out, I put on my dress. Central Dada knew him. He came and he said, you should come with me. So he took me upstairs and there was a big hall. It was a VIP lounge and with a king-size bed and a big bathroom and a big conference table. It was meant for journalists or for meetings, for VIP meetings or something. I think what happened was probably Dr. Ramesh was upset I was not welcomed or taken care of. So anyway, it was settled. So I went to, and then I met Dr. Ramesh ji, and he took me to several places, sweet, where they sell sweets, and I had a lot of gulab jamun or rasagulla and other things. Then also I met one person, that was the next day, Rateji. Rate, he was an old Margi, elderly, and very influential in the city. And the idea was to get a return ticket booked for me, to get back. And I found out it was booked, like close to 200 waitlisted. So there is no way he could get me a seat. So we got back, and every day I was with the Baba, morning to evening, probably 4 or 5 days. There were a lot of Margis from abroad also, Europe, Australia, and other places. And they were concerned, what's happening. So I had access to Baba's medical chart, papers and all that. And he was having, he had hypertension, which was not fully controlled, had diabetes. It says diabetes type 2, which is adult onset diabetes. By the way, about few years earlier, I was in not Lake Gardens. Before that, you may be knowing, it's rented by Anand Marga. I was there and saw Baba's EKG electrocardiogram, and it showed right bundle branch block and some secondary STT changes. What it means is it's suggestive of some heart condition, most likely coronary disease. Although right bundle branch block is a benign condition, generally speaking, it does not affect the cardiac function. And it's different from left bundle branch block. And so I was not concerned at that time. I was told by some Margis also to, Baba is not on proper diet and not taking care of himself, blah, blah. And so I wrote a long letter to PA, about diet, exercise, various things, and some procedures that can be done. But I don't think it was taken care of. But later on, in California I was, the SS, Yatishwarananda Avadut, he told me, organization needs a lot of money, so why you are working for academic institutions, making nothing much, so you should go into private practice. I didn't quite agree with him. If Baba wanted, he can have a lot of, gold and jewels, the money is not the issue, but I agreed to go private practice part-time. I was still working at Stanford and Palo Alto VA Medical Center. Those two institutions were completely merged. The faculty, the residents, fellows, everybody. So But then within few months, I found out private practices, Baba did not approve something. I had no patients, even though my patients I saw at Stanford Clinic, they were not, coming to see me. And so next time when I withdrew from the private, I stopped private practice and went back to the VA Medical Center in Stanford. And when I went to Calcutta, I took an EKG machine I had in private practice, new, and I gave it as a gift to museum. Baba was having a museum in Calcutta. And I was not able to see Baba at that time. The next year or so, when I went there, Baba was yelling at the others, I want my EKG done today. And he knew I was in EKG there. So the problem was, the electricity in India was different than America. So I need a transformer for that machine to work. So I went with the Dada. We looked all over Calcutta to find a transformer. Finally, we found it and brought the transformer, and the machine worked. And Baba had an EKG. And it again showed right bundle branch block and some STT primary changes, suggesting of some coronary disease. I like to let you know that in US, if anybody has diabetes, the Heart Association says that person certainly has coronary disease. It is whether a person has symptoms or not. And it is also a fact that 50% of the diabetic patients have silent heart attack, without any, which is very dangerous because one can die suddenly. Symptoms may be in a way, So anyway, I'm giving the background. So Baba has diabetes, hypertension, and also I think he has coronary artery disease. So there were some of the lab findings were consistent, something of this nature, but there was no enzyme changes to suggest heart attack. But there were features of left ventricular dysfunction with some probably heart failure onset. It was not severe. So second or third day, I was seeing Dr. Vardhan, right? His first name is K. He was seeing me all the time. He said, why you are here all the time? You have to go home and rest. But anyway, that day he was going to do echo Doppler study on Baba. That gives more information on the condition of the heart, both chambers, their pumping function, all the four valves you can look at, and valve function or dysfunction you can know. And I pushed the cart. Baba was on a stretcher. He was given a single bedroom, it was like an intensive care. And I was told he was even holding meetings in the room. The others come, the others, he orders them to come. But the doctor So the doctor was putting him on a lot of sedatives so that he won't do all those things, take rest instead of having meetings. So they didn't have a technician doing echo Doppler study, but it was Vardhan himself was doing it. And I was watching, and I don't know whether he noticed it. There was left ventricular hypertrophy or thickening of the left ventricular muscle with diastolic dysfunction, which is it basically means heart muscle. Because it is very thick, it is not very soft, elastic. It is so there is resistance to the filling of the left ventricle. So the pressure rises in the left ventricle when there is not proper stretching with the diastolic period. So that high pressure is transmitted to the lungs. So a person becomes short of breath because of congestion in the pulmonary capillaries. So it can be undone with the control of blood pressure properly and diet control, salt intake, various things. So when I mentioned that to Dada, Dr. Vardhan, he said, yes, there is diastolic dysfunction. And Baba was listening to it. And, anyway, his left ventricular systolic function or pump function was normal. His ejection fraction is like 60% normally. It is above 50 is normal. So in my assessment at the time, I had patients like that live for 15, 20 years, with proper care and medications. So we had discussions that we should take Baba to US, maybe he needs a cardiac catheterization. But Baba said no way, so he refused. So he had his plan, a cosmic plan, whatever. And he started seeing all the people he had never seen for many years, and easily they came and saw him and left. And they didn't know what to expect at that time. This was 10 months before Mahaprayar, right? And so the fourth or fifth day, I was feeling bad also, like a headache and cold and a little bit fever maybe. And then I looked at the situation. Baba was stable and improving better almost. Could be going home to Tiljala. So I expressed that. And then I wanted to see Baba and get his permission whether I could leave. Because Rameshji had left already. So I was peeking through the door, and door opened. The room was open. So I went in and did Shashtang Namaskar to Baba. And I thought he was fast asleep but I didn't want to wake him up. But I silently did this and PA Keshavananji was standing there and watching. There was nobody else in the room. Then immediately I saw Baba was coming to the side of the bed and putting his whole hand on my top of my head, and his fingers are on my chakras, and Ajna chakra and Sahasrara chakra. And he started chanting a Sanskrit shloka. I never heard of it, and Keshavananji did not know what it was. And I found out later, this senior Indian Dada, Dhyaneshanand Avadut, you may be knowing Rajendraji. He was posted, he was in the US, then he was posted in Africa. And he called me and said, you know, the shloka Baba said that was the first time he was using that blessing. He has never used on anybody. And then he said he was the first Dada to get it. So I felt very good. I don't want to talk about myself, but and then when I was trembling, and the blessing had some effect on me. My cold, fever, everything disappeared, and then I never had thought, how am I going back to South India? Then the one young boy came. This is your ticket to go back to Udupi, you know. That is Mangalore. Mangalore is only 28 miles from Udupi. And so everything was, Baba took care of me. He should have done, I don't know, stayed longer. And I wrote a page about what further tests he need to undergo, you know, stress thallium, nuclear stress test, and so on, non-invasive tests. And then when I reached US, I talked to Dr. Bert Roberts. He's a nephrologist and a friend of mine in San Antonio, Texas. So I could not admit the Baba in VA hospital or Stanford for some reasons, rules and regulations. But Bharat was in private practice, so he has all these contacts, cardiology and all that. So we were all set to bring Baba to US, but Baba said, no, I'm not coming. And so then around, this was, okay, so January first week, I was back in South India and met everybody and returned to US. What can we do? I mean, so Baba was again hospitalized in the summer in 90. And I tried to go to India again. I had seen Baba 6 months before. But Baba was giving me hard time. I could not get even a 1 week vacation time. I have a vacation. Anything I tried, it was no, no, no. And when he wants somebody come, you come just like that, you know, all the obstructions removed. And that's the way. Then I realized he didn't want me to come. And then October 22, right, he passed Mahaprayan. Any questions you have to ask about this?
Thank you, Dada. Thank you so much to reveal the conditions of the final year, especially medical conditions. It will be helping us to know the history. Thank you so much. Mahenkji, can you ask anything else, please?
Yes, yes. So the next question,
Thank you, Dada.
yeah, Ram Dada, we want to ask you is if you can talk a little bit about your how you received microvita meditation and your experience with Baba, like how he selected you for that.
It was 1984 or so. And I was in Calcutta, and Baba was there, and there was lot of people were there. I did not know what was going on. But I had to return to US. I didn't know. And I was in
Just a sample.
Delaware.
Okay. Yeah.
Delaware. Yeah. Or Florida. We were in Delaware. And I came back. And within a week or so, I got a urgent call from Tiljala Lake Gardens. PA, Keshavananji, I think, was calling and said, Baba wants you back. And I didn't know what was going on. So I talked to my wife, and she was pregnant with our third child. So this is going back a little bit. She was 8 or 9 months pregnant. And she did not want me to leave because, what if she has pains? And she was crying, and I had to sit with her for an hour, talk, console her. Finally, she agreed me to go, even like 4 or 5 days, whatever. And when I went there and I heard there is a microvita sadhana and Baba is giving, and actually I was not eligible according to his rules. I was 1 year over, and it was given to only men of younger age group. They have to be less than 30 years, I think. And several things. Actually, in order to get this microvita sadhana, you have to apply. There is a proper, a paperwork. That was Baba's regulation. I never knew, and I didn't apply. But he picked my name just like that and asked me to come. So the next morning, after I reached evening there, next morning, my name was on the list as the first person to see Baba, 8 o'clock. So I went inside 8 o'clock, and there was a special seat for this purpose in front of Baba. It's made of rubber and plastic or some combination. It's supposed to block the high energies or some electricity. So as far as I know, I was there with Baba for my awareness goes for about 30 minutes. The process. These are not to be revealed. So, and then at 10 o'clock, I had to leave. Baba was rushing me then. I have so many people waiting here. You have to hurry up. And then he said one thing. If people ask you what happened to you for in there, you can say you received anandam. So I was basically unconscious. It's like nirvikalpa samadhi, and maybe there was some difficulty in my coming back to normalcy. I don't know. But the next, when I went back to the hotel, I was non-stop calling out for Baba. And then Baba told Keshavananji, I think, Ram's in that room calling Baba, Baba, Baba. And this is, if it is nirvikalpa state, you don't feel anything when you are gone, unconscious. But after effect comes, and that's what Baba was hinting. That's what's happening to me. So I came back to US, and Pratima did not deliver for another week. So then I drove to the hospital. Baby was delivered normally. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Ram. So we'll go to the next question. Rajendra Dada, you want to ask the next one? Rajendra Dada, you want to ask the next question?
Okay. I was not able to hear. Sorry.
Yeah.
So what we wanted to ask is, Dada, we have heard about your, you stopped your medical practices due to the materialistic culture there in the medical field. Please talk about that, if you can.
Well, there are all types of, in the US also, not talked about very much, racism and money issues. And like people come from Japan and other places, they are used. I mean, they are allowed to practice. Practice means take care of patients, but they are not paid. Some of them maybe, or all of them. I don't know. I had one gentleman from Japan. He was with me for 2 years, and we had a couple of papers out together. And at least first year, he was not paid anything. So, and I was also feeling somewhat inferior. This becomes a very long, how much time we have? I can go a little bit.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Continue, Dada. We'll see. If you are comfortable.
Okay. How I got into Stanford, it is a miracle. And Baba did it so many, I cannot believe how he managed it. Because to get a job at Stanford, you have to apply 2 years before, go through several interviews. But I did not apply for the job. I did not have an interview. And how I got it. Actually, what happened was I was then senior fellow in cardiology in St. Louis, Missouri, and I lived in a 2-bedroom apartments. Then Yatishavananji Dada, he was SS. He dropped two people in my apartment, saying they will become good LFTs for you, so you have to utilize them. So I had previous year gone to Calcutta, and Shraddhananji was in charge of the books and publications. And I brought 100 books from Calcutta with me. They didn't catch me. And then I found out this couple were not married. They were beggars in San Francisco. They are called panhandlers. It's a name for beggars. They beg in the street and collect money like that. But they are from rich families, you know. So I try to get service from them, and we had few people come and want to learn meditation, but they were given books. All the 100 books vanished. But they didn't take down their name, telephone number, address, nothing. None of the books came back. And then they are totally irresponsible people, very young, very good looking and all that. And then suddenly after a couple of months, they disappeared. They took some cash and few small things. And so I got very upset with the organization. Why pick up some beggars and put them in, you know? And I wrote a letter of, I'm resigning from the organization to Yatishwananji. He never replied to it. And that's when Baba was not letting go. He was holding my hand. I have a little paragraph here. If there is time, I'll read it. What Baba, you know, Baba's direct talk with what's his name? The 7 tests of the Guru. When a disciple wants to leave the organization, Guru is holding on to his hand. He won't let him go. That's part of the 7 tests. So I finished my fellowship, and I had no job offer actually. And there was one offer from San Diego, from the university there. But before I go there, they said, don't come, because you are not a US citizen yet. I had green card, but not US citizenship. And you are not eligible for utilizing our research grant. That was their reason. And the real reason is there is no Anand Marga unit in the neighborhood in San Diego at that time. Whereas in San Francisco area, there were 6 units of Anand Marga here and there everywhere. And we will have a lot of Margis come. So then one day, I was in Jewish hospital where I was fellow. I finished fellowship. So I was just visiting. And the telephone rang, and Dr. Herbert N. Holcren, he's professor at Stanford, calling one of his former students and fellow, Dr. Oliver. and Dr. Kleiger, both are his students, and at Harvard University and also at Stanford. And Holgren, he's told them, I have some bunch of money, funds, but if I don't spend it, I will lose it to the government. Do you have any fellows who are looking for a job? Then I said, oh, there is Dr. Shettigar, and he gave the telephone to me. I was just sitting outside the door. And I said, hello, and he said right away, do you want a job in Palo Alto, Stanford? I said, certainly. Then come, tomorrow you have to leave. I said, okay. That's it. He didn't ask what are, no questions asked. And so next morning at 5 a.m., I packed my car, threw away everything I had used, television, black and white, and gave it away. Somebody came and took all the little useless furniture and all that. I drove almost 800 miles the first day in reaching Colorado. The next 2 days, I drove all the way to San Francisco, took an apartment near Stanford. And then I was bored of what I was doing here. I was turning the pages on Yellow Pages, it's called, telephone directory. And then right in front of me was Ananda Marga Sangha, and it was 10 minutes away where I was. And I took the telephone, said hello, and immediately the voice answered, Dr. Ram. I did not tell my name, but she recognized, and you know who it is. It was Didi Ananda Mitra. She was a Didi now in Brazil, but she was in our house writing a book and various things. We are close friends also. And so she, from nowhere, she recognized my voice. Of course, we went with her from St. Louis to Carbondale, Illinois. Dr. Ravi Batra was a PhD student in Carbondale. And I drove one car with Vimalananda Avadut, the first Avadut, who visited India. Not India, America. He is a good friend of mine also. But I wrote a letter to Baba about him. He was dismissed. And, it's a long story. I won't go into it. And so I was like assistant professor at Stanford and published many papers. Maybe in the first 10 years, I had 12 publications. And when I left, I published another 20 or so papers. It was all, when I was at Stanford, I felt inferior because these people are very high, better than even Harvard, top of the top. And we had 20 fellows at Stanford, and they cannot provide experience, training experience. That's why they merged with the Palo Alto VA Medical Center, where my salary came from them. $23,000 a year, my salary. I was board certified in medicine and in cardiology and fellow of American College of Cardiology. Well, I had, because I was feeling low, I wanted Baba to help me at least 5 papers. There are some 6 restrictions to get FACC, Fellow of American College of Cardiology. So I have not published more than 1 before that. And so Baba, made me 12 publications very quickly, and so I had no problems getting into the system. And they wanted me to go to Albany, New York, and spend 6 months there at Stanford's cost, and come back and open up an electrophysiology lab at Stanford. So I would have become a tenured professor, if I had. But I turned down the proposal because I was then working on Amurt, and I had plans with Vishwamitra was my friend, Sid Jordan in Nashville, and we together planned some project for homeless people in the islands, John's Island, off of Charleston in South Carolina. So I went there and it got a tentative, position at the university, and was going to move there. Things changed, so I had to come back, stay in Stanford for another few years. So anyway, any other questions?
Thank you so much. We don't feel like leaving you. It's a really Baba's mysterious personality, and it's all visible from your experience. Mayankji, I think we should, if you have to anything, ask, because the other might be tired also. You look at it.
I'm okay for another hour or 2.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Dr. Ram is very enthusiastic about talking about Baba. So, you want to share any other experiences with Baba, Dr. Ram?
My second PC, well, maybe I'll say first PC. First PC in 71, I was March. Then I was a fellow, senior fellow in St. Louis. And I was meeting, I was Margis in 69, and we were meeting in Professor Gishtal's house. He was IIT professor, you may know, in Madras before. And and he had a dream that I was going to India and see Baba. This immediately excited me. I was not married then, I asked for leave. They gave it immediately, and I got a ticket immediately. And within 2-3 days, I was in Delhi. But I was already exhausted, maybe 24 hours travel and waiting. And in Delhi, when I reached, this is Baba's test. The first test he gives is called mundane test. And second one is physical test, physical body. Third is psychic test. And the most difficult test is the spiritual test. It's a number 7 test, 7 tests. Right? And I had probably 3 tests. I was So in Delhi, I found out I was very exuberant until then. The airlines were on strike, and nothing is flying from Delhi to Calcutta. And if I take 3 days train, 4 days, whatever, I won't make it because my leave is very limited. So I just stayed there near the desk, and they were shouting and hollering on telephone. Hello, 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 hello. In old times, in 71, they didn't have real telephone. One telephone was shared by all the workers. And he saw me waiting there for, I think, several hours. And I didn't go what to do. And the thought came, maybe Baba does not want to see me. Maybe I should be, thinking of going south. At that point, he said, "Oh, are you still waiting for going to Calcutta?" He said, "Yes." Then he said, "There is a VIP plane going, probably some minister or somebody booked a plane. There is one seat left. You want to take it?" I said, "Yes." So I reached Calcutta. This is my first test Baba put me on. And then reaching Calcutta, I was terrified. There were crowds and huge crowds of people on the street everywhere. That's when Bangladeshi war happened, I think. 1 million people thronged Calcutta. And in the rain, they all huddle, and sleep, go to the shop windows and doors. But anyway, it was bad. I walked to the train station and took a slow train. It reaches Punjab by morning. And it was made in such a way, and I had a ticket, second class, and I spent the time sitting. And I saw one Filipino Margi and one French boy. But they were not making eye contact or talking to me. Everybody scared of deportation. So they were just in a corner. So in the morning, I went to Ranchi and stayed in a hotel, and then walked to Ranchi. Every morning, Baba comes for a walk, and people on both sides congregate and do namaskar. I did namaskar to Baba. And next there is a small garage, and that is the global headquarters of Anand Marg. Tiny room, Dada, what's his name? He passed away. He's a treasurer and office secretary, global. And so I met with him. And then the second shock is I heard Baba had banned giving PC. So all the effort I made coming there, of course, people are waiting, the foreigners, Americans, Europeans, probably for months, some of them, having diarrhea, this and that. They cannot take the water or whatever. Then last day, I was going to leave next morning. Baba cancelled the ban on PC. And my name was first in the list. So I had, I saw Baba, did Sashtang Pranam, and he gave me advice and touched my chakras and everything. And when I was going to leave, he called me back and said, you have thoughts like staying in India and serve here, but you should go back to America and settle down permanently there. At that time, it dawned on me, I don't have visa to stay in America afterwards. So when I flew back, I stopped in Delhi, went to the Consulate General for his consent, signature on the visa, for the visa. Because my visa was 5-year visa, and it was going to run out in a few days. And I did not even think about it with all the excitement. I just came. And this Consul General, he doubted me. I had a ploy or something. He asked me, why you are wasting money? Why don't you just stay in India? You don't have to go and come back again because your visa is expiring soon. But I didn't tell him, but I told him something. Oh, I have clinic patients waiting for me and I have a contract, all bluffing him. I have to go back. Then he said, he's changed. Said, it's Baba's Leela. He changed. He said, okay. Then he first asked, do you have girlfriends in America? I said, no. Okay, you raise your right hand. So I raised my right hand and take an oath that you are coming back in a few days before the visa expires. Okay, and now he did not know what's happening in America, this Consul General. And Baba never visited America or Karnataka. He did not know what's going on. And when I went there, within a couple of days, I saw a newspaper headline that President Nixon, the Congress approved a permanent visa for foreign doctors because there is a shortage of doctors. And they can stay permanently and become citizens. That's what Baba said. How did Baba know that? Even the Consulate General did not know. And so I immediately put an application. They sent me the visa and I had permanently stayed. And this is like a, also if I had realized that I was not even coming to India with the visa. See, Baba blocked my mind and made me come and then frustrate me a little bit here and there. But I succeeded in persisting in my, effort. And another time, I have made many visits to India alone sometimes. And so I was so exhausted when I came back in New York. I had only one suitcase, but there was a small glitch in the customs. So he made me go through the red line. So the red line means they shred you open, open everything and check you. And it takes long time. And then I stood in the line. The line was not moving, and I saw how long it's going to take. And I was ready to crash. Then I remembered Baba. Then I turned my cart with the one suitcase around and pushed it all the way back. And the people in the long line already become longer. And nobody is noticing me, it seems like. There are, I'm sure, plain-clothes spies, policemen, dogs, and all kinds of things. And outside, there is a huge double door for outside, to go outside. And as soon as you go through the door, there are airlines collecting suitcases and helping, So I walked slowly, without making any eye contact anywhere. Just went through the door. Nobody noticed me. And I then handed over my suitcase. I'm going to Tampa, Florida, and I was hooked. I went all the way. So it takes an instant for Baba to do his part.
Ramji, you said that you lived in Delaware. I live in Delaware. So where in Delaware did you live?
I was in Wilmington, Delaware, and I was chief of cardiology there for 4 years.
What year?
83 to 80, 82 to 86.
86. So I came to Delaware in 88. So we missed you for just a little bit.
I see.
I live in Hokkaido.
I know where Hokkaido. Yeah, we lived in Hokkaido also. Yeah, but the weather didn't like. I was getting asthma-like attacks because it's a chemical industry there.
Yes.
They say chemical of the world.
Yes.
And and plus it snows so bad in the winter. My wife had a hard time driving kids to school. So we went to Florida, and we stayed in Florida for nearly 30 years.
Thank you, Dr. Ram. Maybe we'll open up now for questions. If anybody else has any other questions, you can ask Dr. Ram. You can unmute your mic and maybe ask the question.
Megji, I couldn't hear you, please.
Yeah, I was saying that if anybody else has any questions for Dr. Ram,
fine.
they can unmute their mic and ask the question.
Sure.
Yeah.
Can you talk more about the 7 tests?
Okay. Let me read a short paragraph here. I wrote down. Okay. These 7 tests, Baba dwelled on it. It's about 7 or 8 pages, so I got a small paragraph. The role of Guru is important in Tantra. Can you hear me? You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. The role of Guru is important in Tantra during during Diksha, Guru holds the hand of the disciple called Abhisheka. And when Dakshina is mentally offered, disciple holds Guru's hand. Guru resides in the Guru Chakra, that is just below the Sahasrara Chakra. The bond is for life or more. The ultimate goal of Tantra sadhana is liberation or moksha. If a disciple exits or deviates from the spiritual path or loosens his grip, Guru does not let go his hand. But if the disciple says, "You are not my Guru anymore, I do not believe in you," then Guru is forced to let go his hand and his responsibility. Here Baba was showing that he is holding, you are holding Baba's wrist like this, and he is holding your hand. It becomes like a lock. And so even if a disciple lets go, Baba won't let go. That's what he was saying. And Abhisheka and Baba asked Abhisheka to Tapeshwarananda. This was the conversation Baba was having with Tapeshwarananda, the late Dada. Yes. And that was very long. Actually, this was triggered by, the global confusion and sadness when Baba's wife Ma left Baba, and Vishokananda PA and many Dadas left, and that was, everybody was shocked, and even Tapeshwarananji had so much shock he could not even face Baba face to face, and that's when Baba opened up. So it is good to read his biography, Tapeshwarananji's. It's very interesting. This is okay. So when in the beginning Baba asked Tapeshwarananji, you give Diksha to people, what is meant by Abhisheka? Tapeshwarananji said, I don't know, Baba. I never heard of that before. And Baba gave the example of after the Mahabharata war, there was, Yudhishthira was initiated or given Diksha by Sri Krishna near the Red Fort. And Baba said, if you dig deep near the Red Fort, you will find Bhairava Chakra, which is the two triangles transpose, star. A stone Bhairavi Chakra is there. And Yudhishthira was sitting face Sri Krishna. And Sri Krishna took an oath. It is basically Abhisheka is taking oath that Krishna asked Yudhishthira, you should treat your citizens with the just kindness, equality, all those good, moral, ethical standards. And he okayed it, so he took the oath. So that is called Abhisheka. And Baba also takes oath from the Margis, and both dadas and didis do it. Other word was dakshina. Dakshina does not mean, these days, dakshina means you give priest some, tips, money. But or even Baba does not want fruits and flowers brought to him, because he said many of his disciples are poor. They cannot even afford, fruits or anything. So he banned any gifts, with the exception of one or two. He would not take any gifts. So the dakshina here means mentally it is offered that disciple holds Guru's hand and mentally surrenders to Guru. That is dakshina, not material gift. Okay, and let me read a little more. The roles of Baba are many as per context and his sankalpa. Mahasadvipra, Dharma Guru, Yogeshwara, Mahakaula, Kalyana Sundaram, Taraka Brahma, flooding the world with devotion, released his Samvit or Haldini Shakti in Krishnanagar. It's in brackets. These are some of the titles, Mahasambhuti. Kalyana Sundaram is the Panchatat, Shiva's 5 faces, and 2 on the left and 2 on the right, and in the middle is the Kalyana Sundaram. So it's very gentle, very benign, not like, Rudra. Okay. Mahakaula means Kaula refers to the Kula Kundalini Shakti, and it is a positive, moves up to the Sahasrara chakra from the base. Yeah. And Ishta is a single entity. Baba says you cannot have more than one Ishta. Because like Dallas Margis asked me, can I worship Shiva, Devis, and Baba also? So the many Margis have multiple Ishtas. So Baba says Ishta is a single entity, resides in Guru Chakra, 8th chakra. There is no place for another or second entity there. Ishta is one, so also supreme desideratum is one. If one meditates on multiple entities and tries to place them in Guru Chakra or Sahasrara Chakra at different times, the focus, the concentration may be diluted or compromised. There may be confusion and little progress. Meditation is a practical science. To make progress or achieve the goal, one has to strictly follow Guru's instruction and surrender. So, one can worship idols and all that at the lower, in the beginning, but once one is making progress, I think you have to. Baba, in his final years, he said every DMC he gave in North India, he mentioned the story of Narada, always says Narayana, Narayana, Narayana. And like Hanuman also, where is your Hanuman? And he opens his chest and shows he's in my heart. I mean, that is like mythology story. But basically, you have to stick with one, not dilute it with so many entities. Because this is what happens with some of the Avidya Tantrics and others. There are many Devi places in India also. And they give some benefits, which is true of, but they don't promise liberation or freedom. Okay, anything?
Anybody else has any other question?
Can you say anything more about the actual stages? Not stages, tests, the 7 tests. What is the nature of these tests?
The test becomes harder as you proceed. But the important thing is to not give up, surrender to Baba. That is what he's saying. Because the most difficult test is the spiritual, the 7th test. And it was also told by other saints, the tests of Guru. The spiritual test is the most difficult. And so Tapeshwarananji rebuttal to Baba was, if the test is so hard, difficult, how can we all succeed? And, then Baba said, it may sound hard, but I always help. The key is you have to surrender to the Supreme Consciousness, and He will give you a pass with humility and surrender. That's what He's saying. This one is a small paragraph. I read it. It's interesting because I have heard from GS and PA that Baba meets with aliens from other planets. And disciples of... Okay, Baba was sitting on the tiger's grave in a lonely field on the outskirts of Jamalpur. This local landmark was his preferred meeting place and destination of his regular evening walks. 2 newly ordained monks, Abhedananda and Vijayananda, were with him. Abhedananda was the first PA, I think, or GS, I don't know. The atmosphere was calm and serene and suffused with feeling of blissful tranquility. Baba was gazing pensively at the sky for some time. Then, breaking the silence, he remarked, everything has a cause. Nothing that happens in this universe is accidental. My coming to this planet also has a cause. And the fact that you came with me also has a cause. My decision to come to this planet was not taken here. It was made in a far-off world. I have told you many times that life is not confined to the earth alone, and that the development of life is a common occurrence in the universe. There are so many planets with life far more advanced than the human beings on this planet. It was one such planet that I took the decision to go to a small planet known as Earth and to do something tangible for all-round upliftment of humans and other beings on the planet. So my coming here is not accidental. The fact that all of you came with me is also not without a reason. It may either be the result of an intense desire that you had while we were together on another planet, or in an earlier life on this planet. You do not remember the past, but I know everything. Sitting here, I can see everything, including the planet in the sky where I took the fateful decision. One day, all of you will attain mukti or moksha or salvation. It may be in this life or the next or in any later life, depending on your wish. But for me, there is no mukti or moksha. I cannot wish for that. I keep traveling in various forms, from planet to planet, from star to star, and from galaxy to galaxy, to every nook and corner of the universe, to every place where human beings exist, to guide them along the path to liberation and salvation. For me, there is no rest. I would rather say that the word rest does not exist in my dictionary.
Yes, Mayankji.
Yeah, thank you so much. Do we have any other questions or?
There are many stories about aliens. You know, Baba's. One time, GS told me he was staying with us a couple of days, nights, and when he was ex-GS. He 2 or 3 in the morning, he saw something going on in Baba's room. So he opened slightly the door, peeked through it, and he saw about 40 or so beings. They are not quite, they were more like humanoid and not same type of humanoid, different types of people. And he got scared and he closed the door and went back to his sleep. And next morning, Baba told him, you know, there was no need for you to get scared. Those people are very good people. They are not dangerous or anything. And then I asked him how many times you have seen these things. He said maybe 11 or 12 times. So this was ongoing. And I asked Keshavananji also, and he also said he had seen this happen. And there are people who visit Baba also time to time. They are not Margis. They come in suit and, you know, then they go away and disappear. When I was in Ranchi, my friend Vijay Kumar Singh, he is from Bihar. He was Margi for a short time, but I mean, Dada for a short time. He was in California now for Denver. he told me when I was there, but I didn't see that, I think. When we were waiting for Baba, there was a man, the old man came, and he looked like a beggar with the old torn clothes and hair all not very untidy looking. And then when Baba came, he went forward and tried to touch Baba's feet. And Baba said, no, you don't have to touch my feet. You are already realized, you have moksha. And then he said, but you are my guru, so I want to touch your feet. So he touched his Baba's feet. And Vijay was watching this. And he took a bike, and it's immediately after he went somewhere, he disappeared. And he rode all over Ranchi, that area, and he could not find this man, old person. So there are many such stories of people who, and also some biographies are full of such reports. And yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Ram. It was so wonderful to have you with us today and talk about all your experiences, beautiful experiences. So I think we will stop here. We'll probably create a video of this interview and share with people. We'll probably post it on YouTube. But thank you all for joining. Namaskar to everybody.
Thank you. Namaskar, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Namaskar.
Baba Ram.
Namaskar, Ramji. One suggestion. I think it will be beneficial to have maybe one or two more sessions. If you could hold like one in the US early morning time, then it will be early evening in India. That way we will not be time constrained, provided you have the energy to put up with us.
Yeah, we'll manage. We'll talk to the...
I have no problem, yeah.
So I'm in Delaware. I can contact you directly and we can set up a time.
Yeah. Or Mayankshi is there. He can. I'm not familiar with the technology of this.
That you don't have to, I'll take care of all that.
Okay.
Fine. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Namaskar.
Yeah. See you all.
Namaskar.